Hello, beautiful person. I am so happy to be with you again. And I am live on TikTok and on Instagram and on StreamYard. Oh, hey, Alana. How are ya? I hope you're feeling better. And I am on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter. So I would love it if you would just say hello, drop a comment wherever you may be watching me. And if you're watching the replay, that is awesome too. And if you're on YouTube, then you're definitely watching the replay. Because, oh, I'm so glad you're feeling great, Alana. That is good news. So here we are. So, as I said, I know it is Christmas and a lot of people are celebrating. But on the other hand, some people might also have more time because they're not going to work tomorrow. So, hopefully not. Here in Canada and other former colonies of a certain empire, tomorrow is Boxing Day. And I think a lot of places might also be having tomorrow off because Christmas is on a Sunday. So I don't know. But anyway, I am glad that there are people here. And like I said, you can drop me a comment, say hello, tell me where you are, tell me how cold it is where you are. Here it is cold. I mean, it's not quite as cold now as it was a few days ago. I actually ran on the treadmill a couple of times, which I really don't do unless I absolutely have to, just because it's so boring. But today I got to run outside, yay, because it was only minus 20, but then Celsius. But the important thing is that there wasn't much wind. It's really the wind that makes it unpleasant. So anyway, I hope everyone who is being affected by storms and bad weather is safe and warm. And I hope everyone who's been celebrating with their family, whether they're celebrating Christmas, tonight is the last night of Hanukkah. Here's my cool Hanukkah sweater to show you. And thanks for the love, by the way. I love it when people send me hearts. Thank you. So, yeah, so the sweater, I wear it 1 week a year, so it holds up pretty well. I've had it for a while. So anyway, so it's the last night of Hanukkah and it's Christmas. They don't always coincide, but this year they did. And actually it was quite amazing because the solstice, the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere, if you're in the southern hemisphere, then it's the summer solstice for you, actually fell right in the middle of Hanukkah, like the fourth candle. It was amazing. Um, and no, thank you. Please do not invite me to go live together. Sorry. So, where was I? That's the problem with TikTok. It does tend to distract me a little bit. But anyway, tonight I wanted to talk about perfectionism and why it sucks. So, you may or may not have noticed last week I actually scheduled all the things and then I forgot. I just, it was like 7:30 Central Time, and I actually took one of my kids home who doesn't live with us but was here to light the first candle and this and that. And I was like, come on, I'll take you home. Da, 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 it's cold. And then I got home and I was like, I missed my video. That is so weird. Like, why would I do that? I mean, it's in my calendar, it's all scheduled. Even that morning, I had it set up. So I was thinking about that. How did I just bail on it? That is just so weird. So, because I mean, I've been doing this for a while now. So, I was thinking about it. And also, I noticed like I keep track of how many videos I do. And usually, I like to do these little reels and put them on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on all the places. And lately, I haven't been. The only ones I've been doing have been the gym ones because, um, my coach takes those, and so she's standing right next to me. And but I mean, she's getting like the whole body so that you can see the lifting and so on. It's a lot of fun. But I realized I was still doing those, but I wasn't doing any of the other ones that I've been doing before when I talk about stuff. Ooh, TikTok, you're not in the middle. Oh well. Actually, you know what? That is actually very apropos because I wanted to talk about perfectionism. And I am not in the middle. And you can actually, on TikTok, I'm not in the middle. In Instagram and all the stream ones, I am. But if just the fact that I wanted TikTok to be just as perfectly set up as the other ones. So anyway, so the real reason that I haven't been doing, talking head videos, if you will, or reels in which I talk about what's going on and maybe do some education or maybe be a little silly or whatever. I haven't done like last week I did do the celebration Friday little dance video that I do, and this week I didn't. And I think the reason for that is I don't know if you can see. It's kind of gross. Maybe you shouldn't get too close to the camera with this. But anyway, I've been having some issues with eczema around my eyes, and I have some idea about what's been causing it, and I'm working on it, and so on. But it's it made me really not want to do videos. And that really made me think about why that might be. Because, when, especially if you are quoted as a woman in the society, the expectation is that you're going to look as perfect as you possibly can. Now, I am 60 years old. So, and I'm not hiding it. And I actually stopped using makeup a couple of years ago, and my life has been so much better. Makeup and heels are two things that I gave up. Actually, last year, I think about 59, 60 was when I decided that I was not going to um, use makeup or wear heels anymore, and it has been amazing. But I have to admit, I've been a little rethinking the makeup thing because it's not fun to have, red patches around your eyes. So that's a whole different thing. But the question is, why did I not want to make videos just because I've got some red patches around my eyes? It's kind of silly because I mean, like I said, I am 60 years old. I do not look like a spring chicken, but even if I did, what difference does it make? If I have some information to share with people, if I have a story to tell, if I have some thoughts that are going to give value to people, then what does it matter what I look like? And then the fact remains that it does. And what it the reason it matters is this thing called perfectionism, which I put it in all the headlines and said perfectionism sucks, because it does. Not just because it affects our willingness to do things. If we feel that we can't do something perfectly, then we're just not going to do it at all unless we catch ourselves. And but it's a source of stress, and it can be a source of great suffering, really, that we don't have to. And you have to understand that perfectionism is a trauma response, and it comes directly from the feeling that love is conditional. And that is really a big thing. I mean, if you stop and think about it, if a kid grows up in life with the feeling that love is conditional, that they're not just loved for who they are, that they're not just loved for being made in the image of the divine, if they're not loved just because they're human and they have that spark in them, then it means that they have to earn that love. And I think a lot of people in our society grow up with the feeling that they have to earn love, they have to earn attention, that it's not their God given right to be loved. And I'm talking about being loved by your parents. Not Nobody ever has any sort of entitlement to other people's bodies. Let's be very, very clear about that. That's not what I'm talking about. When I'm talking about love being conditional, I'm really talking about parents and siblings and other, figures who are important in the life of young children. And so when people grow up with the idea that they're not lovable just how the way they are, and certainly a lot of kids who have grew up in families with a lot of stress. I've been listening to the works of Dr. Gabor Mate. Let me just grab one of his books. Oops. See, if I were perfect, I would have had it ready already. So this book in particular, this is his latest book, The Myth of Normal. But I've also been listening and reading a book called Scattered Minds, which is about ADD. Because I have ADD, my kids have ADD, probably my parents have ADD. So it's interesting to figure out where that comes from and what we can do about it. And it would appear that Dr. Mate makes a pretty convincing case about ADD being a result of a lack of attunement, if you will, between a very young infant and what he calls a mothering parent. It doesn't have to be the actual person who gave birth. As long as there's an opportunity for attachment and really strong connection and that feeling of unconditional love. And like I said, it doesn't have to be the birth mother. It doesn't have to be the mother at all. It doesn't have to be a woman. It can be, the father. It can be a different nurturing adult. The point is that if a child has someone from whom they feel that they can receive unconditional love, and I'm quoting Dr. Mate here. I am not myself an expert on these, but it certainly resonated with me hearing him talk about that. People who grow up with a feeling that they always have to hustle for worthiness, to quote Brene Brown, who's another person who's talked a lot about this sort of thing. And if you have to hustle for recognition, if you have to hustle for love, if you have to hustle for attention, if you have to sing and dance and always be perfect, because otherwise you're not going to get the love that you desire, then you're going to spend your life in perfectionism. You're going to spend your life feeling that you need to earn the love, the attention of other people. And that is something that people carry with them into adulthood. And unless they actually work on doing something about it, and that's where therapy comes in, or working with, like I said, somebody like Dr. Mate, then they're going to carry that into all of their relationships. And the thing is that when you have your own children, as I have 3 children, if you are yourself carrying that feeling of not having received unconditional love, you're also going to have trouble giving unconditional love, especially if you're stressed for whatever reason. And that's what Dr. Mate talks about, is about how society places extra stress on parents. And certainly with my children, there were periods in my life that I was very stressed and not the best parent. And we cannot turn back the clock, but what we can do is recognize and try and fix things, and we can heal. You can't cure ADD, but you can heal. And basically, what Dr. Mate is talking about is the role of unconditional love in healing ADD. And if you're not going to get it from your parents for whatever reason, you can get it from yourself. And that's really important, I think, to realize that you can parent yourself and you can work on your own issues and heal perfectionism. And the first step always is just to recognize. If you recognize that you are dealing with perfectionism that is making it maybe hard for you to do things, maybe you're not getting started on things, maybe you procrastinate, either you're not starting on things, you're not doing things. Like, I've suddenly stopped doing videos after I'd been doing them like for several years, and all of a sudden I just wasn't doing them, and so I really needed to figure out why. And the other side of the coin is people do things that are self-harming, self-damaging. People do things because they need to dull that pain. They need to anesthetize that pain. And so people find ways to self-medicate. And Dr. Mate has also written a book about that called In the Land of Hungry Ghosts. That is a book about addiction. Thankfully, that's not something I've had to deal with so far. So I haven't really delved into that. It's been more the ADD book. And I also got his one about chronic illness called When the Body Says No, because, yeah, I do know about that. I have had a chronic illness since I was 25 years old. and very, very miserable. So, yeah, so really delving into those books. But I just wanted to come to you tonight and talk about perfectionism. And I would love to know how you feel about it, because it's encouraging to know that these things can be healed. And you don't need your parents to change. You don't need your spouse to change. You don't need your children to change. What you really need is to work on yourself. And there are ways for doing this. And like I said, there's Dr. Mate offers all sorts of suggestions and so on. And of course, always working with a counselor or a therapist or a life coach is always better than doing this entirely on your own. But you don't have, if you can't find or work with or afford or whatever someone to help you with this, these books, especially if you get the audiobook, it's really not expensive, and you can start working on it yourself. So the message that I wanted to give here was that perfectionism sucks and perfectionism is a trauma response. So the first thing is to recognize that you're doing it, to realize that you are uh, using perfectionism in some way to protect yourself from from the pain of rejection, the pain of possibly not receiving the unconditional love that all of us desire. And as babies, we absolutely need it, because a baby who is not cared for is going to die. So it's really, really important for babies to make sure that they get the attention that they need. And but we carry these behaviors into adulthood. And if you've been the all singing, all dancing, amazing, perfect child who everybody loves because they're so amazing and funny and successful and do everything well, at some point you're going to pay the price for that. So it's a good thing to pay attention to that. And funny, I'm just getting a really strong arthritic pain in my hand as I'm sitting here talking, which I don't normally have. So there you go. When you start talking about these things, your body's going to fight back because these things are really, really firmly entrenched. So, anyway, 2 weeks ago, I ended up talking for over half an hour, and then last week I didn't do it at all. But this week I'm going to try and keep it to a decent length. I've been talking for almost 20 minutes, so I'm going to close this down. I'm going to thank you again for watching, whether you're watching live or watching the replay. It is wonderful to have people who are paying attention because I think this is a really important conversation. And I would love to hear what you think about it. So you can drop me a message, you can send me a message, you can, this is on like one, two, three, four, five different social media, plus it's going to be on YouTube. So I'm sure somewhere you can find a way to contact me. And oh, thank you, Alana. Yeah, it's a topic that you know about too. I mean, we are both chronic illness warriors, and so this is good stuff. I definitely recommend this book, The Myth of Normal. So, everyone, have a wonderful Christmas if you celebrate. Have a lovely last night of Hanukkah if you celebrate, or just enjoy a Sunday evening if that's what you got going on. So, have a great evening. Remember, I love you. It's important. And I will talk to you again soon. Bye bye. And